haven't really heard from you for the past 1 week while Workers' Party is introducing their candidates. I'm just wondering what have you been up to? Are you meeting new members? Are you walking the ground?
Yes, been. This past week. Yes, some walking about, but we stopped that really after Parliament was dissolved, and I also flew to Beijing. That's right, for a few days to be with the family.
It's not for work purposes.
No.
I would think that maybe you want to have some question for my other candidates like Pritam Singh. I think it's quite interesting. How come no question for him? Or Glenda Hart?
Well, I only left Singapore for Hong Kong about 3.5 years ago. But I think, given the distance between Hong Kong and Singapore, it's only 3.5 hours of flight, time. I come back very often, every other month. Shoma has said, we are Singaporeans at heart, and we're there. We really represent Singapore. There are a lot of Singaporeans in Hong Kong. I'm sure a lot of you know already because it's such a financial hub. So, I've actually listened to their concerns, what they think about what's going back, in Singapore. And then when I come back, when I help out with the party, it's like I've never left. I don't feel like I've left. So problems with connecting on the ground, not at all. I come back, I stay with my parents. We live in Toa Payoh, so yeah, very local, I would say.
I think Pritam Singh is the first, minority Singh. I think the Workers' Party has few so far, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
I think so. So I think you have to pay some attention to it. So we have quite interesting minority this time round. I think you're Malay, got Indian. We also have a Singh, modern Singh. So I think maybe you have some question for him.
You mentioned that 10 years ago you went to the old WP office.
That's right.
And you only joined very recently.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that you felt you needed to get out there and
Sure.
do other stuff as well, but why such a big gap? I'm sure you could have joined any time in between if you really felt and maybe why WP?
Sorry, can I just ask who are you?
From Today newspaper.
From Today, okay. Well, thank you for that question. You don't think about these things as if you've got this timeline in your head, that 5 years, then I'm going to do this, 5 years, then I'm going to do that. To be honest, actually, I was really thinking hard about whether I should practice for at least 5 years and then look at the next elections as the time to enter the political arena under the Workers' Party banner. But I felt, look, you've got to start somewhere. And if 5 years later, the circumstances may be so different. I may have gotten married, I may have had children, I may have had a wife who was going to divorce me if I joined the Workers' Party. Anything could have happened. But this felt right. I think this was the time. And I decided, yes, let's do it. I had a long, given the fact that I went to the headquarters in Jalan Besar 10 years ago, tells you something about at least where my political affiliations lie. I think even at that point, as a young man, I think I was quite clear that what this country needs actually is more voices, more diverse voices in Parliament. And yes, you wanted to follow up with something?
Yeah. Why in particular WP? At that point in time, and maybe still now.
Well, at that point, you had Mr. Lau was in Parliament, and I actually was quite impressed by Mr. Lau in Parliament. And I'm not doing this because it's patronizing since he's on this table. But you have to understand the whole context. You're one person, and respectfully, Mr. Chiam as well. And you have to take on this whole PAP juggernaut. How do you do it? And I think the way he has managed himself, has been a source of inspiration for a lot of Workers' Party members. And accordingly, even after him, Ms. Sylvia Lim as an NCMP, I think the quality of the leadership that the PAP provides, I beg your pardon, WP provides. Oh, no, did I say that? I think the quality of leadership that they provide tells you something about what sort of individuals you need in Parliament to bring us to a first world Parliament, to challenge the PAP. And I think that's really the answer to your question, why the WP? I think that's the standard which I can relate to, and beyond just the leadership, when I joined the party, of course this is only something you see when you're in the party. Organizationally, fantastic people. There's one gentleman standing right behind, at least he was behind just now, Bernard Chen, who's the secretary of the youth wing. And a few weeks ago we launched our manifesto. I came into this building about this shop house, I beg your pardon, maybe 2 hours before the manifesto launched. And Bernard was mopping the staircase. And this is the sort of commitment that we have from our party members. I mean, we are a small party, limited resources, and you have that quality, that level of commitment, and that's something very humbling. And you know, I respect all my party members for that. And I hope that answers your question. I think there's a follow-up question. I can't see your hand, Alex. Sorry.
There's a fairly meaty section in the party manifesto about civil liberties and the legal process. I mean, for example, I remember that there's quite a bit said about accused right to have legal representation as early as possible. There's a fair bit about how the death penalty should not be unless 2 judges concur and so forth. To what extent, are these ideas of the Workers' Party driven by principle or driven by feedback from the ground? In other words, is the party proposing this in the absence of any demand among Singaporeans, or is there, or have you sensed that this is really what Singaporeans want?
Well, Alex, the short answer to that will be, Singapore is not a monolithic country. I mean, you have different constituencies, different sort of demands. And to answer the question very specifically, I mean, did it come bottom up, or was this something internally raised by the party? I think it was a bit of both. And for that, actually, I'm willing to open the table for especially chairman and the secretary general, because we looked at this holistically from a party perspective. And we had lots of inputs coming in as to how we want to bring this thing forward. So, short answer is a bit of both.
That's chairman.
I think in these areas that you mentioned in particular, of course, I think for civil liberties, there is a certain awareness among the Singaporeans about its importance. For the criminal justice side of things, I do find that there is still a need for more public education. And in that sense, Workers' Party also, we have to look at issues from various perspectives. And I would say that if we feel an issue is important enough, even if, say, there is still a need for further public education, we would want to take some lead on some of these issues. So in respect of criminal justice, we do look at international best practices and so on, and that resonates with our beliefs, and we feel that even though the public as a whole, the awareness level may not be very high, I think it's also important for us to take the lead on some of these matters.
Okay, can I have the last question? I think, so many. Okay.
Okay, I have a question for Mr. Loh. During the 2006 WP feel 好像蛮小的，WP 船上那些好像令人有些样些年轻的候选人，好像钟伟华、连胜威、Barry Brandon， 甚至是吴明胜或者是这一批。可是来到后来，直接走了走，要一些就再一次没有被选上代表自己的一个大选。就是说这一届的候选人会有这样的情况，就是说这一届选完之后。又是走了走，就是比较开始。
我想你应该知道，人生无常，世事难测。至于说上一届的候选人为什么有一些这一届没有下去竞选了，而有一些当然也在其他的政党，当然人各有志，我们都祝福他们成功。如果他们认为其他政党可能有给他们更大的发展空间的话。至于说有一些为什么没有下来参选，不过他们还在党里边活动。当然，人生的这个变幻无常， 有时候他们碰到一些个人的问题、私人的一些问题，也不是他们不要参选。比如说有一些问题是比如健康的问题，或者一些其他的一些问题。所以我想当然我们都希望候选人能够继续每一届都下去竞选。不过有时候呢，我们需要考虑到不同候选人所面对的一些个人的一些问题，所以我们也没有办法勉强。不过呢，我很高兴的一点就是说，不论是过去候选人有没有下去竞选，他们都在党里面帮忙活动。我想我们可以看到是工人党的凝聚力还是非常的强。
我可不可以打个叉？就如果您看到一位年轻的竞选人，对吧？候选人，觉得他有潜力，觉得他能够替人民好好服务，要他继续留在工人党，继续为大家努力，最好的办法当然是投票给他，把他送进国会，对不对？这个
Okay, yes, can make last question. Okay. For me,
some people may have this perception that the slate of new candidates, first-time candidates from the MP, all the focus, all they can remember is Mr. Chen Shou-mao.
Yes.
Do you think the concern for the Workers' Party, is it more than just Chen Shou-mao, or is it nothing but Chen Shou-mao?
Well, I don't really quite understand why people think that there's nothing more but Chen Shou-mao. We got 23 so far. We have actually introducing 23 candidates. That I suppose I don't need to introduce myself. I'm chairman, right? But I think it's natural because that he, because of his background, his credential, I think naturally people have interest in him. I want to know about him, and I have no concern that he has stolen all the limelight or whatsoever. But I just urge you that okay, after you will have to ask him more questions, then let's look at other candidates. 不要让其他的候选人坐冷板凳啊。I mean, that is usually, but I think the party has enough that to actually present ourselves. To the press and to the people, and I believe that Singaporeans look at not just Chen Shou-mao, but the candidates of the party, the team, and as well as the Workers' Party as a whole. And that is why I think we presented to you earlier the Workers' Party video to show what the party has been doing, what progress have we made, and how do we present ourselves to the voter and to Singaporeans that this is the Workers' Party. And for your information, our video will be uploaded to the YouTube, right? Will be uploaded to YouTube. So I think more Singaporeans can watch and judge for yourself. All right? Enough. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.